For those of us who studied together on Thursday morning, we know how much I like discussing names of people and places in the Torah. Names take on significance and meaning. The Torah goes out of its way to explain the meaning of the names of almost every person who plays a role in its narrative. And those names are significant to the Jewish people, not only because the Torah is our common belief system, but also because we continue to recycle those names within our family even today. The tradition of remembering those names is one we do through the naming process. For instance, last week we observed my father's mother's yurtzeit, the yurtzeit of Marie Gammi Lebovitz. We lovingly called her Gammi. Gammi's Hebrew name was Miriam. Often the name of Miriam is translated into the bitter water. In Hebrew, mar means bitter, like maror, and yam means water, like sea. Miriam's first act in the Torah is saving her brother Moshe from the bitter water of the Nile River, which meant death to so many Jewish babies of their time. And as an older sister, she also served Moshe the bitter truth. The idea of Miriam being somebody who dishes it to you straight is a concept that fit my Gammi perfectly. As a purveyor of the Shoah, she sold cigarettes on the black market in Budapest immediately following the war. 2 Russian soldiers approached her, and the first soldier came close and said that his buddy, the second soldier, thought she was very pretty. And Gammi looked at the soldier, this first guy, and said, "What do I want with your friend? I like you." Thank goodness she said that, because that man ended up being my grandfather, Simon Lebovitz. Bah. She spoke truth all the time, sometimes without any compassion. She called it like she saw it. People knew not to ask her if they looked good in their outfit. And when she paid you a compliment, it lifted you off the ground into the heavens. Our youngest daughter, Maddie, is named Miriam in Hebrew after Gammi. And she has her moments of honesty. And she's a force. And she's also forced me to rethink it all. In Hebrew, mar doesn't only mean bitter. In Hebrew, mar also means drop, like a drop in the bucket or a drop too much. Mar also means myrrh, which is used to make beautifully smelling perfume and medicine. Mar also begins the Hebrew word for marak, meaning soup. Putting all 3 definitions together, I can tell you that I loved walking into Gammi's kitchen. It always smelled great. And whether you ate a drop or a bowl of Gammi's chicken soup, it always tasted fantastic. And Gammi always loved watching people eat her food. If I told her I was hungry, she would prepare a 3-course meal. And the first time I brought Blair to visit her in Florida, Gammi made us dinner. And then afterwards she told me, "I like Blair because she eats." Believe me, it wasn't the eating. Eating her food showed Gammi that you loved her. It was a way she could provide for her family. It was also a way she could get us to sit around the table and talk. Love, truth, family, these are core Jewish values. And they're also all abstract ideas until a strong-willed person decides to realize them in the world. Gammi was such a strong-willed person. Maddie is also such a strong-willed person. So is my niece, Maya, who also carries the same Hebrew name in memory of Gammi. Sometimes there's a line between love and truth. The Talmud teaches us that every bride is beautiful on her wedding day. Is that truth? You judge for yourself. But the strong-willed woman, the Miriam of the world, she walks beside Moses as he drifts down the Nile. She walks up to Pharaoh's daughter and protects her brother and speaks in the face of power. She builds a family in a new country after losing everything in the Holocaust. She buys Blair and me a set of dishes as a wedding present because she wants us to think of her when we eat. And now, she stands in front of this congregation at 2 years old and sings Ein Keloheinu. And occasionally, she screams on this bima for a pacifier. Strong-willed people, in particular strong-willed Jewish women, have the ability to change the course of history. They have the ability to demand that abstract values be instilled and enacted in the moment. They have the ability to inspire busy people to accomplish the simple task of sitting around a table and enjoying a bowl of soup together, followed by a salad and a brisket and potatoes and kishki and kugel, coffee and tea, fruit, pie, and usually sorbet. That would have been like a Tuesday night dinner. That is the Jewish tradition unfolding in front of our eyes, carried in a single name from the Nile River thousands of years ago to this bima at Adat Shalom in the here and now. I know that the Torah belongs to us because our names continue to appear in its text. And the names of its text continue to appear in our families. I know that the values of the Jewish tradition belong to us because it feels like the ideas that we continue to need to express and the exact ideas that it espouses. I know that this community belongs to us because it's where we enjoy sitting around and eating and actualizing our Torah and realizing its values, and it's where the tradition needs to be taught. May all the Miriams of our tradition, from the first through the most recent, continue to force us to stay on our toes, always serving us the values of truth and love and family. And may the memory of my grandma, Marie Gammi Lebovitz, Miriam bat Yosef et Zipporah, continue to be a blessing to me, my family, and to everybody who loved her, and to all of Klal Yisrael. And let us say, Amen.